Cornell is easier to get into the other Ivy Leagues. Its acceptance rate is more, right? But not because of the reason you think. Most students think that Cornell accepts more students, so it must be weaker. But that's not true. In fact, the academics of Cornell matches up to Harvard and MIT, right? So that means it's easier to get into. That has nothing to do with weaker academics. It has everything to do with how Cornell admissions works. And if you understand that, you will increase your chances and you can use Cornell's higher acceptance rate to your advantage. Let's first kill a myth. Cornell, by no direction, no criteria, is weaker. It spends over $1.5 billion a year, which puts it in the same tier as Harvard and MIT. Let's get one thing clear. Cornell has the same academic strength, okay? It spends over $1.5 billion a year on research. That puts it in the same tier as Harvard and MIT. It has produced over 60 Nobel Prize winners. That means that it's academically as strong as another university with the same resources, okay? The only difference is perception. Because Cornell enrolls a much larger class, around 3,500 students as compared to an MIT's 1,300, it feels like it's less selective, right? And that perception, though, is not coming from weaker academics. The issue is there's a gap between perception and reality. So that's the opportunity. When you look at what actually makes Cornell admissions differently, that will help you decide how you can get in. And that gap between perception and reality is where this opportunity sits that I'm talking about, right? You should use to your advantage that people think it's easier to get into, because if you do, the acceptance rate is lower, but you get the same academic output, the same quality of education, the same careers afterwards. Cornell is a great school for you to apply to for those very reasons. So Cornell is actually structured differently. When you apply, you're not applying to Cornell as a whole. You're actually applying to one of 8 schools. Penn has 4 and Cornell has 8. Somebody like a Columbia has 2, okay? This means that admissions is actually taking the full applicant pool and splitting it into smaller groups, right? Because it's admitting you directly into one of those schools. And each school has a very specific kind of class it's building. So you're not actually competing against all applicants into Cornell, right? You're just competing against the people who have the same major, the same school as you. That makes the competition narrower, which makes it a little bit easier to get into, right? An engineering applicant is only competing with engineers. A hotel school applicant is only competing with students interested in hospitality. Engineering, remember, wants something different. So they want a technical problem solver. Architecture, they require you to have a portfolio. Hospitality looks for service and real-world experience, right? So the question is very simple. Where does the student belong? And have they clearly demonstrated this in the activities that they have pursued, okay? So when that answer is yes, and it's easy to understand where you belong at Cornell, it carries so much weight, and they want to accept you because they know exactly how you're going to use the resources that they have available at the school. So the question is very direct. How have you already started working in the field, right? It's not just, I'm interested in this. Actually doing the work, right? You need numerous activities showing you've really immersed yourself, because they don't want to admit you to engineering and then have you say that now I want to go into hospitality. Because if everybody does that, the entire balance of how they accepted students is going to change, right? So for Cornell, it's not just about achievement. It's proof that you already know and want to operate inside that discipline, and you're unlikely to change later, okay? Now at this point, I could talk about campus life, culture, environment, but I'm gonna skip that because that's information you can find all over the web. Instead, I wanna show you something you can actually use to improve your chances of getting in, and it's a little more complex, so stay with me. By the way, if you want, you can watch this, which actually helps you understand how different Ivies think about your application so that you can position yourself perfectly. Remember, you don't want to repeat the same application for all the Ivies because all of them are trying to maximize on fit. Means, does this student fit with the culture that I already have? And so the more you tailor your application, the better your chances are. Cornell does have one very practical admissions constraint. Most students who get into Cornell also will get into schools like Harvard or Stanford, okay? And because of perception, people are often applying as if Cornell's a backup, even though it's not a backup. If some of these other eliter schools end up choosing them, they'll say no to Cornell and they'll say yes to those other schools, okay? So Cornell knows that they're not everybody's first choice. And so they don't just ask, who is the strongest applicant, okay? They ask a very important question. Who is actually likely to enroll? So this is where those numbers matter. Because at schools like Harvard, 80 to 85% of admitted students enroll, but it's something like Cornell, the number is closer to 55 to 60%. So that Cornell admits more students just to fill its class because it knows a lot of kids are not gonna actually accept their offer, okay? And Cornell also enrolls 3,300 to 3,600 students, right? That means they need a lot of people. Because of that, admissions cannot just ask, let's get the best, strongest students. It also has to say, we need to get students who are going to definitely come to our school. And that's why the more you shape your profile to hit what Cornell values, the better off you are at getting it. If you want, check out this video on what's different between Ivy League schools so you know how to shape your application. Now, early decision changes the math. Each year, there's 9,000 to 10,000 students who apply to Cornell through early decision. About 1,500 of them are admitted. So that means 40 to 50% of the entire freshman class is coming into early decision. Why? Early decision is binding, right? So Cornell knows those people will 100% say yes. And so the number of people who they have to accept overall is lesser, right? If they don't have any guarantee of whether or not you say yes, then it really throws off the number of students that they have to admit. Bad news is that means half the class is filled before regular decision. So the remaining seats now are just 1,500, let's say, or 1,700 that are remaining. That number is including this early decision, right? So when you get to regular decision, you're not competing for all seats available, you're only competing for what's left. So a lot of people will apply to Cornell thinking that I can wait for regular decision because it's my backup, it's not my first choice, but you're not then taking advantage of that higher acceptance rate that we said you should take advantage of, right? Because there aren't enough seats left in regular decision. By the way, I have a deep dive to help you think about how to strategize when choosing your early decision college. Check it out in the link. So what's the takeaway? Cornell isn't a weaker Ivy, right? It's just structured differently. It has the more schools out of all the Ivies. So they need you to have a clear direction and they want you to have depth because once they admit you into a particular school, they don't want you moving around. So Cornell has a system that's built to reward somebody who's clarity about what they want to do with their future, okay? Remember, you're getting the same level of education and by no means is it a backup. But if you understand what Cornell cares about, then your chances of getting in improve.